I don't, that's what I'm how, but I already have
I'll make sure
pneumonia.
it's all small.
So if he's not
Yeah, just
here,
go, just to
then
how long
he's not.
another project.
It's gonna get it.
Well, that's obviously not right. I mean, that one is all 20.
Oh, I know. That's a 7 o'clock at night. Okay. All right, welcome, and thank you everybody for coming out to join us for the new year, new you, I don't know. Exciting new year, Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024, Town Council Work Session at 6 PM. I will call the meeting to order. Roll call of members, all members are present. Amendment to the agenda, I do have a motion to add a closed meeting item pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711A1 for purpose of discussion of assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, discipline, or resignation of appointments of appointees of the town council. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of the amendment to the agenda?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, louder? Nope, it's not working. It's not loud. I can't turn it on.
Oh, there it goes.
I won't touch anything.
You have to stand up the whole game.
No, I'm just gonna go see if it needed to be
I used to
adjusted.
have to hold onto the TV so I'm too much rasping.
Okay, now I feel like I'm yelling. Oh, now it's too loud. Okay, maybe it just needed to catch up. It needed a warm up in the new year. All right, do I have approval of the agenda as amended?
So moved.
All right, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Better. Right? Yes, thank you for letting me know. Okay, I don't have a consent agenda, the first meeting of the new year. So next up is council member liaison and commission reports. Hope everybody had a good holiday. We'll start with any kind of updates that people have. I'll start on this side. Dr. Salzella?
So, we have a planning commission meeting coming up next Thursday, correct? And we have, the next Columbia Beach redevelopment housing authority meeting is actually this Friday. And we have no zoning appeals at this time.
Ms. Brown?
All was quiet. I was able to visit the fire department and police department several times over December. It was a lot of fun. It was the fun part of my job, helping them out with all their fundraising activities. And I had emailed the council about possibly putting some safety procedures at the school for dismissal. So if we could address that at some point, or that would be great, or have it on the agenda.
They were gonna bring that up at the strategic meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you.
A couple different council members emailed me things over the holidays. You emailed me something, whoo, hello. It's gonna be at the strategic meeting.
Thank you.
So I have nothing to report. The Parks and Rec Commission did not have its meeting last night due to people being ill. So we'll reconvene in February for the first meeting, unless we can get enough well people to attend until then. A lot of sickness going on after the holidays. So that's all for me.
Okay, Mr. Wood?
Okay, couple of things. The CB Community Foundation, the monthly meetup is on January 6th at Dockside Realty. The scheduled speaker is our new colleague, Krista Brown, guaranteed to be the safest place in Colonial Beach. There'll be more cops per square than any place. December, the board of downtown Colonial Beach elected Eric Nelson to be the new president. He replaces Jeff Crook, who led DCB through some very important stages over the past several years in the current phase of mobilizing Main Street. That's where we'll ultimately reach the full Main Street status. DCB will be meeting with Virginia Main Street Program on January 20th to develop a work plan that will guide DCB through its mobilizing Main Street status leading up to a full Main Street status in, I don't think it's 2025, forgive me. Economic Development Committee that has been under the auspices of the Chamber of Commerce now becomes affiliated with downtown Colonial Beach. DCB is planning the first annual fundraising gala on February 10th. It will be held at the Riverboat and we'll have a Mardi Gras theme. And the Virginia Osprey Festival is partnering with the Center for Conservation Biology to present a film called The Biggest Little Fish You've Never Heard of. This is a documentary on the plight of the Manhattan, the nutrient-rich fish that Osprey and the lower Chesapeake Bay depend on as a food source. The screening is set for February 24th at 2 p.m. at St. Mary's Episcopal Church. The event is free and refreshments are provided. And as always, donations will be welcome. In regard to Public Works, the SCADA system is going to begin installation on Monday. If all goes well, it'll be done by Friday, fingers crossed for that. We're going to be cleaning the tanks that will add some capacity for our wastewater treatment plants. That's much needed. And then just as far as a few things to come down the road. The council is going to be at its retreat next week. We're going to be discussing a number of things along the Public Works end, up to and including, it's going to be an all of the above kind of discussion to figure out how we best solve our problems with our wastewater treatment plant. We'll be discussing privatization. We'll be discussing refurbishing what we have. We'll be discussing what other places have done as far as creating the water authority. We've begun discussions with Potomac River Keepers, some towns who have actually sold some of their utilities with some success and some without, okay? And so what we're going to do is be able to quantify the best way to solve the problem and share with you so that we have this as a mutual decision and we all understand what the financial implications will be. So that's all I've got for today.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Just a few updates. If somebody's trying to help me make a point for my, I'll do a video later here. Okay, good. Just a few updates from the Economic Development Committee. They had a meeting on the 12th of December. And Mike Fitzpatrick is stepping down as the chair of the committee. He won't be on the committee anymore, but he did serve for a couple of years, and we really appreciate his service to the community. Let's see. In the meeting, they discussed the food tour that is going to be on Washington Avenue and possibly recruiting some vendors for that. If you gotta keep bumping this or what? Okay, let's see. They discussed new leadership at the Board of Supervisors for the county of Westmoreland. So they're going to try to do maybe some collaboration with them on different economic development plans. So they're going to, I guess, have some meetings, and since there's some new members there and a new not town manager, but manager of the county. Kelly Efko is going to be the new president for the Economic Development Committee, or not president, but the chair. And she'll, I think, just for a year, just to kind of get them started, since Mike stepped down, and the gentleman that was potentially going to take over said he wasn't quite ready yet for that. Let's see, they mentioned the opposition to the property purchase, or at least one of the members, the property purchase the town just made recently. I guess they feel like that should have been more of a community decision. Community Heart and Soul, they're talking about phase 2, which is the interview phase, which lasts a few months, I believe. So that's the longest phase of that project. Mike Fitzpatrick and Kelly Vaughn are stepping down from the Chamber of Commerce, so they'll no longer be on that. They were kind of the ones that were the members that represented the chamber for the Economic Development Committee. And as Rick mentioned, that's now going to be under the Downtown Colonial Beach. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
I have nothing at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I just wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy. Man, I can't wait to get this audio and video. Like, on here. All right, we don't have any presentations scheduled for this meeting, so we'll move forward to public comment. Is there anybody who'd like to come up and speak? Yes, come on up. Public comment is 5 minutes. Just state your name and address for the record for us, and welcome.
Let's see whether this one works. Am I supposed to?
I can hear you.
Okay, well, yeah, people often can. Nigel Long, 115 Lynn Haven Court. Firstly, Happy New Year, both to town council members and to the professionals here, and best wishes for 2024. I sort of thought of saying, because I think you'll need it, but I do partly mean that. The first minor comment is about the dates you have scheduled for meetings 2024 into 2025. I'm sure you've seen this already, that you have a meeting scheduled on the evening before the 4th of July, and you have a meeting scheduled on January 1st, 2025. That second one might work because you shouldn't get too many attendees for that one. But I just wanted to make sure you'd all seen that. More importantly, I took the time this week to read the minutes of the retreat you had in January 2023. You didn't really publish any minutes in January 2022, but you did publish 16 pages for 2023. And I was really impressed. I would encourage anyone in the public that is interested in what the town council needs to do to read those, because it gives you the broad view of all the things the town council has to tackle. At an individual meeting, there'll be particular resolutions, there'll be particular presentations, but that really shows all the things that you need to deal with. And I think it's great that you made it public this year. I hope you'll do the same for the minutes this coming year, because I think you've got a lot of things you need to tackle, I would guess. I was pleased to hear from Mr. Wood, Councilman Wood, that you're going to be looking at a range of options for the wastewater treatment plants. Obviously an important thing, but I also wanted to encourage you to make sure that all the infrastructure that the town council is responsible for is being considered in the same way. Obviously, you can't be responsible for what people in past years didn't do in terms of maintaining the water treatment plant, but you can be sure that, for example, the drinking water treatment plant or any other elements of infrastructure that you have are being considered in the same way, and that you're looking at those seriously. I'm sure you will be. So what concerns me personally as a taxpayer in the town is that if we take the 3.6 million that I heard at the last meeting, and we divide that by the 2,600 taxpayers who were due to pay for trash cans and the 25 businesses, I think that comes to just over $1,300 per person. And even if I know we're in great financial shape and therefore can borrow the money, but even if you spread that over 10 years, I'm sure you wouldn't be doing any more than that, given that you have to continually maintain this equipment. That's a big chunk of money that potentially we have to come up with. And I assume we'd have to come up with it whether the system was privatized. I can't imagine that any private company would take over a bill of $3.6 million and just provide us with the money. Maybe I'm not optimistic enough. I look forward to hearing what you all come up with. And again, as I say, best wishes for the new year in figuring all this out. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
I have 2 emailed comments.
I'm gonna let the audience do it first and then we'll go to email.
I'm sorry, I didn't sign up.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, no,
See.
sorry. Yeah. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. Happy New Year. I'm sure this is going to be a really great new year. And I just want to say that I'm really looking forward to being the president of Downtown Colonial Beach. This is going to be a really exciting year for the organization. We are going to be, by the end of the year, being considered for a full Main Street status, and that's going to have a lot of positive impacts for this town. So I just wanted to, tell you that I'm ready, willing, and able to roll up my sleeves and get to work on Downtown Colonial Beach activities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the audience? Okay. Go ahead.
I have 2 emailed comments from Mr. Knuckles. You want me to read them verbatim or just summarize?
I think you have to read them verbatim. And also, they one that is about relation to the draft ordinance. I don't think this is a public hearing. The public hearing is on the 17th, so I think you have to read them both consecutively during this public. Okay.
Okay. Mr. Knuckles writes in that he's writing a comment on what he believes are deficiencies in resolution 02-24, ones which I hope will be addressed through amendments to the proposed town council bylaws for 2024. Issue 1 is section 2.3, parliamentarian. The town attorney shall act as parliamentarian to the town council. In the absence of the town attorney, the town clerk shall act as parliamentarian. At a practical level, in my experience, the role of mayor has served as the default parliamentarian, determining the appropriateness of rules of order and process on the fly, without rulings from the parliamentarian. Section 2.3 indicated that no such powers exist under the role of the mayor, and as such, for the sake of order and more importantly, for the sake of public faith in our local government, I hope that in 2024, the role of parliamentarian is more closely adhered to throughout the year in all town council matters. As the clerk is the stand-in for the town attorney when they are otherwise not available, which has occurred on many occasions historically, I encourage the administration to provide the clerk with whatever training and resources they need to robustly fulfill the role of parliamentarian when needed. Parliamentarian, as an independent entity who should be solely concerned with procedure and the rule of law, serves as a crucial role and should be treated as such. Issue 2, section 6.1, actions by individual members of the council. Recognizing that stewardship of the public interest must be their primary concern, the mayor and members of council will work for the common good of the people of the town of Colonial Beach and not for any private or personal interest. And they will assure fair and equitable treatment of all persons, claims, and transactions coming before the council. No member of the council should engage in behavior that is self-important or solicitous of special treatment. In my opinion, this section is insufficient in its lack of detail about the importance of avoiding both conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflicts of interest, as are the requirement under state law, specific language on the requirement for recusals on matters and on the scope of the recusals, solely the final vote or all procedural matters surrounding the topic, as well as recourses for failing of members to recuse themselves voluntarily need to be spelled out. Procedure on whether the town council body will itself be self-policing or on these matters, or whether the parliamentarian serves as the independent role as investigator and enforcer of determinations of conflict should also be addressed in the bylaws. Issue 3, use of closed sessions. The bylaw should be explicit in that closed sessions be used only in cases when putting the discussion in open session puts the public interest in harm's way that can be demonstrated as actual harm. It should be clarified that closed sessions should not be used to hide discussion from citizenry except when there is clear and demonstrable harm from the dialogue occurring in open session. Once in closed session, all discussions on a topic which could occur in open session should be avoided and must, at a minimum, be repeated and disclosed on the record during open session prior to any vote on the matters that were discussed in closed session. Simply citing the code references that allow closed sessions to be held are insufficient as the rationale that explains the public harm that would be a result from open session discussion should be stated on the record, and town council members' discussion and votes on that rationale should occur before closed sessions ensue. Issue 4, minutes. Section 5.2, minutes. The clerk will make every effort to provide draft minutes to the council within 30 days or less of the date of the meeting. As a real-world level, this guidance has proven to be virtually meaningless, with minutes being delayed many, many months and having historically been presented so late that members who were crucial to this discussion are not even still on the body that is being asked to validate the draft minutes being proposed. While YouTube videos are of great value when it comes to business of town, the sole official record of the business of town council are the approved minutes. In most instances, the matters that are voted up on by the town are implemented in time has long passed before any town council member, much less the public, can contest the draft depiction of the town council's actions. I would suggest the following modification to be: the clerk will make every effort to provide draft minutes to the council within 30 days or less of the date of the meeting. In all instances, draft minutes shall be presented to the town council while the third meeting following the date of the original meeting. The town council and the town manager should work together to ensure that resources are made available to achieve these aspirational and required goals for preparation of draft minutes. And that's what his comments were about the bylaws, and then he also had comments about,
Is it
the
5
draft
minutes up?
ordinance chapter.
Okay, that's fine. He emailed them and the public hearing will be on the 17th, so we can submit them then too.
And that was all I had.
Okay. All right, anybody else? Okay, I'll close public comment at 6:20 PM. All right, election of the vice mayor, then January, we always have to do kind of the get ready for the year activities. So we're gonna do some of those now. So, yes, Mr. Wood.
Yes, I'd like to have the honor of nominating our present vice mayor, and like to see him assume the mantle leadership again for 2024. Mr. Kenny Allison, project manager, par excellence.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any other nomination for the board? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor of Mr. Allison as vice mayor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Okay.
Call you last time.
Whoa,
No, that's mine. I'm trying to turn it on.
it's yours.
It is.
Would you like to say something? Okay.
No, I was just checking to see if it was gonna do the same thing and it did.
Okay, next up is liaison assignments. If you haven't noticed, we're gonna slow down this year a little bit. I've decided. We're gonna take it nice and easy. We're gonna go patiently through the year. We have a lot of things to tackle. We're just gonna go one thing at a time. Don't look like that, JC. See you. Okay. Liaison assignments. This is sort of one things that the mayor duty has other than running the meeting, which is assigning liaison assignments. Liaison assignments are listed on page 5 of the bylaws. So if you have any questions about that, I suggest to go to that page to get further details. This year's assignments, as always, I switch some things up sometimes, so I am gonna go down the line. So Karen on the school board, Krista, public safety. You just got it a month ago. Kenny, finance and administration. Vicky, parks and rec and NGOs. David, planning, zoning and housing authority. Rick, public works. And I want to switch to EDC. Joe, I can't wait. Okay. Next up is the resolution to establish the town council meeting schedule. And as Mr. Long pointed out, I had already circled a couple of dates that I think are problematic, but that's why we set it up. Now I'm trying to find my calendar. Because I just had it out, but I have so many papers. Where did I put my calendar? Here it is. Now here's one of them. It's not the one I marked up. Did I stick it in there? I don't know. I marked one up, but now I can't find it. Oh, there it is. Okay. So by default, it is, the meeting schedule is generally the first and third Wednesday at 6 o'clock. And if we go by that, then as Mr. Long pointed out, July 3rd is a meeting. We have in the past canceled that July 3rd meeting traditionally for the last 3 years because it always falls right around that holiday and it's a very big holiday for the town. So I'd like to propose the meeting schedule with that date canceled. I also think we should consider canceling the September 4th meeting, which is right after that Labor Day, 3-day holiday. And that is another big weekend for the town. And so we would do both in July and in September, the combined meetings. It would be a work session and regular meeting on the one date, which would be the third Wednesday. So for July, that would be the 17th, and September would be the 18th. And then for January, the 1st and the 15th is the 1st and 3rd, but what if just for the month of January, we did the 8th and the 22nd, we did the 2nd and 4th. Just move that down a week just for that initial month.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second to that? So the motion is 1st and 3rd Wednesdays at 6 o'clock with the exception of the cancellation of the July work session, the September work session, and moving the January 2025 meetings to the 2nd and 4th.
Could I ask a question about that?
Can we get a second and then we can discuss?
Second.
Okay, fair enough, there we go.
Okay, so the September session, it's 2 days after a holiday?
Yeah, the Labor Day weekend's the 2nd.
Yeah. So what would be the compelling reason to cancel that particular session?
Just that the season is really high and that's the last big weekend on Labor Day weekend. But if we can keep it and then see how the season goes, we don't have to. It's just easier if we can anticipate that we're gonna combine those because planning commission has to hold public hearings sometimes and other things get scheduled.
Yeah, I would be personally more comfortable if we kept it in place and then we can always make that decision as we get closer.
Okay, so you'd like to amend the motion to include the first Wednesday in September?
Correct.
Okay, is there a second to that amendment?
Second.
Okay, we'll vote on the amendment to the motion right now, so,
Nay.
nay. Okay, Krista? Aye.
Nay.
Nay?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Nay?
Aye.
I don't know, man, I didn't write it down.
You're straight
You're
through.
the tiebreaker.
You're the deciding vote.
So when you vote aye.
I say nay because it's the beginning of the school season and just slow down. Easy, nice and easy this year. Take a pace, stay concentrated, stay focused.
Your January 2nd Wednesday
Yeah,
is a school board meeting night, unless we tell them to use their school and not town center. Because everybody uses town center.
would you rather switch it to, I mean, school board meeting night. They do, and I'm moving that January meeting to the 2nd and 4th.
And they have their meetings on
Oh, okay.
They can work around it. I don't know. Thank you for pointing it out.
It's hard for the liaison to do that.
That's true. Do you think they're still gonna try to have it at the same day, or do you think they would try to move the day? Vicki, what have you done in the past? You were on the school board for a long time.
Oh, my gosh.
They would probably have the same day and just.
And just move it to a different one? Okay, so do we wanna do the 7th and the 22nd? Or do we wanna keep it the 8th and the 22nd? We have to have this meeting. This initial
Madam Mayor.
meeting in January and what we're doing right now is
Yeah.
like key.
It is our organizational meeting, the first meeting.
Right.
I would propose that we do it as soon as we can find a date after the first, rather than pushing it a full week. So if there is a date, an alternative date such as Monday or the 6th,
Okay,
that might be, go ahead and get our organizational meeting out of the way, because we will also have our strategic planning meeting that month, and pushing it back a whole week on both ends might really pile us up.
Okay, so this is an amendment to the motion and just pertaining to January. So amend it to say January sixth, and then what about the next meeting? We're still gonna keep the 15th? Our strategic planning meeting would normally be the 17th.
I'm okay with the 22nd if that's available.
Looking at Heather,
17th available.
the 17th is strategic planning
Yeah,
meeting.
you're saying the 22nd, yeah, the 22nd's available.
Okay, so moving just the 8th to the 6th.
So January 2025, we'd have work session on the 6th, and we would have the regular meeting on the 22nd.
Yes, so the amendment to the motion is just to move the 8th to the 6th, because we're still just amending the original motion. Yes, Mr. Williams?
You said the Tuesday the 6th, it's, Tuesday is the 7th.
Monday the 6th.
Monday. Is that?
If I said Tuesday, I'm sorry. Oh, it is, I bet it is.
No, Board of Supervisors is the second.
So that'll be the 13th. Next Board of Supervisors is next Monday. I'm looking at it. Yeah, okay, so the 6th will not conflict with them then. All right, so an amendment to the motion to do from the 8th of January 2025 instead to the 6th. Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Okay. We'll do another roll call vote, okay? Karen?
Aye.
Okay, Kristen?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so now we got the 6th and the 22nd in January. You got that down, Heather? Okay. All right, so now we will vote on the full resolution, which is the adoption of these with those amendments as voted on. Is there,
So that's the 1st and 3rd, except for January,
except for July,
except for July, there'll be
September.
no work session. September, there'll be no work session.
correct?
January, we will meet on the 6th and the 22nd.
Correct. That's what I got. All right, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? No.
Well, some of us may not even be here for
I know, that's what Vicky said.
That's what I
It'll be our last say.
Vicky's over here laughing. Okay. All right,
Let's
resolution.
leave it for the 1st.
Well, no, we will not do that. Okay. Next up, adoption of the 2023 bylaws and rules of procedure. They had quite an overhaul in the last year or so when we had the couple different attorneys add all the Virginia code into them. Is there a motion to adopt the bylaws?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Okay, keep moving forward. Audio, video. And, Mr. Williams, Councilmember Williams, yeah, emailed to add this on the agenda, and to be honest with you, I think he knows I've also been frustrated with it. So, and as you can tell tonight, it has been a reoccurrence of it. Mr. Williams, you wanna walk us into?
Hey,
Is
sir,
it
can you let
credit
me
on?
borrow your microphone here? That's mine, that's not.
Are you doing it? Are you ready?
I was just saying that's a brand new mic.
I won't make this too long. I really apologize. I haven't had a lot of time to do research. I wanted to actually meet with Heather before this meeting and kind of go over what we had, what status was. So I'll ask for her to give an update after my short spiel. But the first thing I did back in 2021 when I got on town council was ask India if we could put on the agenda the audio video and see if we could address getting it working, because I continually get complaints from citizens. I know Karen had mentioned way back then, back in 2021. She also had citizens concerned and others. I know Mr. Wood has mentioned in, after one of our other meetings, he was a little frustrated. So I don't have anything new, but I did hand council something from the January 2023 meeting where Heather had gone through and done some research, and there were a couple options back then. One was a little extreme with a $40,000+ estimate. But it sounded like there was an option 2, which was about $18,500, which seemed like it could replace the majority of what needed to be replaced and have, pretty much a guaranteed working system. So I'd like to see if council might have the appetite, considering how much trouble we have on a regular basis with this. And like Rick mentioned in one of our meetings, we feel bad for Heather. She's got to be frustrated with these microphones and how things don't work properly. But Heather, I was going to see if you maybe say a few words and if you have any updates at all from over the last year.
The only update I had was from the last one, was the quote that we had from Lee Hartman and Sons that came out and did the estimate, and that was, at that time, $12,000 for parts, $6,000 for labor, and then shipping and everything was a little under $300. So that was about the $18,000 for that. Even with all that new equipment that comes in and everything, we're still gonna need somebody who knows audio and video. And that's one of our downfalls, is that we don't have somebody on staff who does audio and video. It's me. And I'm just winging it.
Be honest.
Yes, you are.
Just doing the best we can sometimes with what we got.
I have got a gentleman who used to do sound for the Patriot Center, and he has offered his services for during town council meetings. I think he told me $75 an hour. So he could come in and work the audio for us, as like a part-time side thing. But other than that, that's all I really had. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing with audio and video. I'm just winging it, trying to make the best that I can do with it.
Well, and I've been in here with Heather we tried to work through this before Town Center had the roof issue and the leaks and the ceiling tiles were falling down and all the mess that happened. And you really need like 4 people at least in here to test the equipment. And so when she's been coming over by herself, she's really not able to have all the mics on, because a lot of interference that we see is, David, you start to talk and my mic's on, or, somebody, or, Vicky's mic's on, and then they're reverbing off each other, and you gotta have like all these people in here to try it. So that was definitely made it much more complicated. I'd be in favor of getting a consultant or somebody in here, a professional or somebody to take a look at it. If we had a professional there with us when we did that, who works like DJ equipment, who is the person who installed this equipment originally. Now, his opinion at that time was that this equipment was still good, and that what the problem was a lot of these mic cords that had all got pinched, and the cleaning of all of the ports and stuff. But then I think, Heather, you ordered some new mics, and then this is a new mic that
That I plugged in today for David, because I know that at the last meeting, it was his mic that was having the issue, so I was like, all right, well, I know his mic's having issues. So I plugged the new one in, and I thought it was working fine. I didn't even realize it wasn't turning off. It turned off for me earlier, but that's how it happens in the queue. Something will be fine. Then the meeting will go, and it's probably because, like you said, all the different mics on at different times. And things go.
Madam Mayor,
yes,
what's the possibility of putting out an RFP?
okay. I like that idea.
Instead of calling back the people we called before, people using this, put out an RFP and see who comes in.
Mhm.
As far as, ideas and what they would want to evaluate, and then of course, it's kind of a 2-step process.
Right.
We don't want to just come in and replace everything if this system is good, like the one guy said.
Yeah.
But I think rather than going back to people we know, if we put it in an RFP, maybe we'll get some fresh odds.
It's a good point. The other thing that I agree with Mr. Williams is it's not fair to Heather, and I've expressed that point before. I do kind of like the idea in the interim while we're waiting for somebody to respond from the RFP. $75 an hour to get someone to help us with what we presently have, because most of the stuff is new, right? To see if, while we're waiting for that RFP, to see if we can resolve the issues or at least mitigate the issues until we can get it fixed. But as opposed to waiting for the RFP and waiting for perfect to be the enemy of good, why don't we go ahead and get this person who has some expertise and see if they can at least get us through some meetings.
Well, and he'd only have to be here like the first hour of the meeting. We wouldn't have to pay him to be here the whole time. If it's working for the first hour, it generally works, right?
Until David's mic goes out.
Until the guy leaves, and then immediately it all goes out. Yeah, I do think it's important that we fix the audio issue. I know it's frustrating to go watch the meetings and then the audio's not working and things like that, because they can't really hear us. And there's a lot of people that tune in digitally. I mean, we have a robust audience too, so thank you all for being here. But people that tune in digitally, they need the mic in order to hear us. That doesn't pick us up unless the mics work, so.
And I will tell you that despite the system at the county, the representatives fail to speak into the mics and you still can't hear them. That's still one of the most important components of us being heard on YouTube is actually speaking into the mic.
Bring it closer, Karen. Yeah. I'm up for both. So I think putting an RFP out is a good idea. I think getting a professional in here for at least our next meeting. I don't know if that's possible, if he's available to come to the next meeting.
I'll call and see. I just know like everybody had with the flu,
Okay, do I'm gonna make a motion to give direction, to put an RFP out for the audio and video equipment and to engage in a contract for at least, the immediate needs.
So move.
Okay,
Second.
anybody, have any additional comments to that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good job. All right, next up. Draft ordinance 755, amending chapter 3, animal and fowl, of the town of Plymouth Beach Code of Ordinances. This is part of, we started engaging with our prior attorney, Vivian Giles, who was going through our town code along with Tom Moncur, to just update it to today's code. This, not with the intent of making, intentional directional changes, but just that it was outdated and it had a lot of references that were not relevant anymore. And so we're sort of taking up these code sections just one at a time each month to go through them and try to update them to today's standards and the state law. A lot of them had language in it that's not applicable to the current state law. So that's the premise of it. Just for anybody that's new to the meeting tonight, people who have been with us know that we've been doing this, but it's not because we're trying to create some new animal and fowl, bird, something, so. All right, JC, you're taking it away for pals and Susan here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent.
And thanks for the read-in. That's basically the idea. Just to give an example, there's a lot of references to a town animal control officer, which doesn't exist. In most instances, there's already state code that covers a lot of this, and in those instances, we want to remove our local code. It's not really necessary. We can enforce state code. But this is just the initial read. If you have any specific questions, I'll be happy to take those to Powell. But the staff recommendation is to continue our practice of calling a public hearing to make these changes. You're not required to by code, but that's what the town has done traditionally when making ordinance changes. So just please let me know if you have any questions.
Yes, Mr. Williams.
JC, one of the things I remember, it looks like it's been changed, but I just wanted to confirm that. Before we had written in there, it was a class 4 misdemeanor for like leash law and for pets defecating, or whatever you want to call it. Has that been scratched altogether, or has it been moved somewhere in here?
So the section 358, prohibiting dogs from defecating on public or private property was initially struck in Ms. Giles' version of the edits. And if you look at the memo, Powell's words on it were essentially that he thinks that it should be rewritten and kept because that ordinance section is referenced in other areas. So for consistency, that would be important to keep in there. As the leash law, that I believe is covered by state code. The reason that one was taken.
No, sir, it's not.
It's not?
No.
Okay.
Leash law is specific to the town. Some subdivisions in the county have it, but there's no general leash law for the county of Westmoreland or the state of Virginia.
I will take those questions, Cal, if you have any questions on that.
So it's-
314 leash law is still in there. Sorry to interrupt you. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
the leash law was in there, it was the, changing to the class 4 misdemeanor.
I think
It's
it's been
scratched
struck
But
in my
it is
version.
struck.
Which
Like,
provision
deleted.
specifically are you asking about?
The class 4 misdemeanor, the leash law and for the public pet waste or
You have the number?
314.
314? That's still in there in part, in the version I'm looking at from the agenda.
any person convicted of the violation of this section shall be guilty of class 4 misdemeanor. Has been struck. Was it moved somewhere else or?
No, it's a civil penalty of $100 now in this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
So the leash law is that, but what about the pet waste? I'm just curious, because I posted some on Facebook, and a lot of people thought it was pretty harsh that you could have a potentially permanent criminal record for your dog.
I know Powell and I discussed this one specifically, and that one is being reworked, because obviously you can't prohibit that on private or public property, because then where would the opportunity exist? Powell is rewriting it to say that as long as you pick it up, you're
And
good.
that's in this version.
Yes. That should be in the version you have.
Yeah, it is.
in the one that was handed to us on the table then?
Yeah, the most current one is the one.
Page 9 is page 99,
That's not the that one.
top of the page.
Right.
He sent it.
What page?
Not the memo, it's over.
Yeah. We didn't buy something today.
I'm not at 9.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
I was going off the agenda packet. Thank you.
Oh, it just says you have to remove it.
Yeah, that was the only change that was made, as long as you remove it. There's no change.
Otherwise, you can get a class 4 misdemeanor,
No, I don't think, it doesn't have anything about the misdemeanor in there.
because that was in the old version, that's why I was asking.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying, but I think that's been strong.
And I apologize, this is the first time I'm getting this version. I had to do this one.
And there was something about bees, I think we had discussed bees, but I'm not sure that we really, I think we said we'd address that later. They're kind of on the, what, endangered species type thing.
Yeah, I think it requires further discussion and investigation before we were to change and allow bees in town.
We can, kind of have two ways forward with this. We can schedule a public hearing on the 17th. We don't have to vote for it then. We can at least hold a public hearing at that time. We can then either decide to vote on it then, or we can continue to look into the B question, or we can pass it and then continue to look into the B question after that.
I would have an appetite to pass it and then go into the B question later.
Okay, all right, well, let's just set the public hearing right now. Let's just do a motion to set the public hearing then for January 17th. Is that the correct date? The 17th.
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on just setting the public hearing?
Only that I know that the county is ultimately responsible for enforcing a lot of this, and that if there's a dog, our first thing is to call the shelter or call the sheriff. I mean, that's our first indication, but then they have to very often dispatch, they call and get one of their officers to go and investigate it. And I would like it to be possible that somebody could, that a dog wouldn't continue to run loose because the sheriff can't get up here to do something about it. And we don't have, I know we don't have anybody certified. I know at one point there was somebody interested and becoming certified, I believe, on the force. Do you know who that was?
A certified canine,
Mm-hmm,
that was Sergeant Hayes,
okay,
and he's the one.
and he's gone now.
Yes, ma'am.
I think we have an MOU though with the county that if they call us to assist with it, we would do that.
We do assist with animal calls. The county will respond for dog calls. But we also regularly go out and assist on those calls. Because a lot of them, we're just returning them back to their homes.
I had an officer remove a snake from my house one time.
Yeah.
So I really
snakes.
appreciate that.
Yeah, we've done that.
Yeah.
Snakes are easy.
Not for me.
It's not just the fire gonna get the cats from the tree.
Chief, do you have any comments on this whole dog issue and the changes in the law?
Which part?
I mean, did you get a chance to read through the changes, and do you see how it would impact your ability to serve the public here?
I've had a chance to review what I had in the packet, but I haven't had a chance to go through what Powell has recommended. So if I can reserve judgment until I look at what his amendments are, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. And just bring us back any concerns you have at the before the public hearing.
Yeah, for the public hearing, yes. JC has some.
Just want to make one comment on the leash law. The Powell's change there is not specifically related to leashes as long as the animal's under the custodian's immediate control. So that's a relatively significant change for you all to consider ahead of the public hearing. So basically, if you're playing fetch with your dog and it's close to you and it's under your control and just playing fetch, that's fine. It doesn't have to be on a leash per se.
I believe in the beach section, for the rules on the beach, unless we've changed it, that does still say that dogs must be on a leash on the beach. Can you double check that?
That's a different code section, but I can look into
Yeah.
that before the hearing.
Yeah, because that's a little bit different, having a dog on the beach versus a dog in the park doing fetch, especially in the summertime.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor to hold a public hearing. Is there any other discussion on that particular point? Okay, all in favor to hold a public hearing? Any opposed? Okay. All right, so we'll have more discussion, and like I said, we don't have to vote at the 17th. We can hold public comment and see how, if that brings up further issues with this particular ordinance, then we'll keep working on it. Nice and steady, 2024. Nice and steady. Okay, oh man. All right, already going to close meeting. All right, I move that the town council of the town of Clinton Beach, Virginia, convene in closed meeting for the following purposes and discuss the following subjects, all of which are exempt by Virginia law from public duty requirements as indicated, namely pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A8 for consultation with the town attorney regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such attorney or the town manager on his behalf, and pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711A1 for the purpose of discussion of assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of appointees of the town council. A motion? Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, we're gonna go into closed session. Thank you guys for coming tonight. Appreciate it.
reconvene the motion of the meeting.
Get ready to put yours back.
Take it one time, right?
Okay. Motion, second. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, is there a motion to certify that only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by council?
So moved.
Second, okay, this is where you individually start.
I so certify.
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 I'm so certified.
I so certify, and a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:38 PM.
You have a great, side job.
I know.
You could do.
Tomorrow is a DC day for me, so I'm
Yeah.